ladies and gentlemen, we got a pretty serious controversy. One that, alleges me of some illegal action.
What do Mutahar and Carl Jost have in common? I mean, besides the fact that they worked on a now very questionable charity fraud expose in regards to the completionist. Well, what they both have in common is that they're both complete frauds. Recently, a YouTuber by the name Nikandros dropped this 38-minute long video that essentially goes over Mutahar's contradictions over the last 10 years, talking about job titles he may have never actually had.
Speaking out of an engineer, like if I wasn't a computer science engineer, I wouldn't speak about Elon being an idiot. But as an engineer, yeah, I'm gonna call him an idiot because he does do idiotic statements.
I mean, this is a pretty big deal. Mutahar, especially in the drama commentary scene, is somebody that people have looked up to with a lot of respect. And this guy has spearheaded a lot of projects when it comes to some very questionable individuals. People like Mama Max, people like the completionist, Keffels. And all this time, he's been leveraging this position of authority that he's built for himself to make himself far more credible in these videos, in these projects. Which begs the question, just how honest has Mutahar been throughout any of these works?
Okay, so at least a computer science degree.
I thought when I got into university for a while, and I dropped out like a semester in because I was like, okay, no.
Oh, he dropped out after a semester.
Like I'm a dropout myself. I've never finished university. If you're gonna be in the STEM field, you need to go to university, okay?
You need to go to university to be an engineer, but Mutahar is a dropout. He has no degree.
I mean, this is the guy who has made hundreds of thousands, millions of views, making videos talking about cybersecurity, large data breaches, how to do virtual machines so that you can keep yourself protected against viruses, virus investigations, deep web investigations. And look, to be clear, I'm no one to deny Mutahar's skills or talents or his knowledge. Maybe Mutahar is somebody who's incredibly knowledgeable when it comes to all of these things. However, most people would be less inclined to believe somebody, especially somebody like Mutahar, if they were more transparent about what skills, what credentials, and what experience they actually have. Now, if you're anything like me, you've probably noticed that these criticisms have actually been a long time coming from Mutahar. People have been catching on to Mutahar's whole act for quite a long time now. It's probably been a couple of years in the making. I'm going to show you a couple of comments that I managed to find from last year, but this isn't something that just came out of nowhere. This type of concern about Mutahar essentially being ignorant to a lot of conversations is not new. But thankfully, we got somebody like Nikandros who meticulously crafted this video to point out just how dubious Mutahar really is.
In 2020, Mutahar claimed to be an exceptionally successful day trader.
Now, for those of you who don't know, one of my side hobbies turned basic, general second profession of mine is day trading, swing trading, whatever you want to call it. I like to sit in the mornings, sip my coffee, go on the NASDAQ, see what I can look pre-market, buy, sell, and be done by, 11 or something, and call it a day. Ladies and gentlemen, it's something that I've been doing for almost a year, give a couple months, and it's definitely a very, it's a fun part of my lifestyle. I'm a very mathy guy. I do a lot of calculations in my head. I lose money, but I generally have an 80-85% success rate, and that's just the nature of this stuff.
Something that I never really liked about Mutahar are kind of these humble brags that he does to try to make himself seem like the most important person in the room. It's really, really interesting in a very, very odd way, if you know what I mean. I'm sure some of you guys are going to remember that time during the Mama Max drama when Mutahar said that he would pay for somebody's defamation case.
Then I'll gladly put money towards Camden's defamation trial.
Yeah, if it is fake.
I thought you said it's fine with saying it's allegedly.
And I'll say this is a longtime fan of Mutahar, but 85% success rate when trading? I don't know about you, but that number sounds incredibly unrealistic. But hey, what do I know? I'm a complete moron, but at least I'm willing to admit it. Maybe some of you guys will know a little bit more and will be able to tune me in on just exactly how insane this number actually is. Also, something I really want to focus on is just how much Mutahar works, because that's something that's been in the back of my mind for ever. How does somebody who works a 9-to-5 or has a busy scheduled day trading or any of these other things that he claims to do also have the energy and the time to create YouTube videos? Don't get me wrong, YouTube video creation is not that laborious depending on what type of niche you're in. Creating commentary videos like this one is relatively low effort, but it's still relatively time consuming depending on how much research or how much effort you actually engage in. I know that sounds incredibly unemployed and terminally online, And that's because it is. I'm not even gonna beat around the bush about it. I'm not gonna posture about it. It straight up is. Let me recycle this clip for you guys real quick.
Could it be possible that Mutahar has been faking having a job all along? Doing daily uploads while being a CEO 9 to 5 is a pretty busy schedule, as Ethan said. When he was on the Unsubscribed podcast, Mutahar made sure to let everyone know he works 9 to 5 and that he's a very serious businessman.
Legitimately still have a 9 to 5.
Dude, even making the sloppiest of videos, like even making the most garbage 9 to 10 minute video takes a pretty decent amount of time.
Please.
I mean, you're like Dumpy, where you can make like the most low effort commentary videos ever, which again, not to like discredit the guy at all. You're not gonna take less than an hour making a video. Because you have to research a topic, you have to be interested in the topic, you kind of like have to, you know, ruminate about the topic in the background a little bit to like then give good commentary, and then you have to edit it down. At best, Dumpy's videos take anywhere between like maybe 20 minutes to an hour to make. Somebody who's working a 9 to 5, unless they're like managing their time really well. Somebody with a busy, like, you know, somebody who's in a relationship is working a 9 to 5, day trading and doing all of these other things. I don't see how they would have the time to, like, you know, be uploading. And Mutahar, keep in mind, Mutahar, just for reference, makes videos that are typically over 20 minutes long at a time and have to be at least relatively well researched so that he can actually give good commentary about it, because of, like, you know, he has to be aware of what's going on, talk about it in the first place. He has to be doing a level of research, then he has to edit it down. There's no way he's doing all of these in like a plain 25-minute sitting. Most of his videos take at least an hour to 2 hours to make. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense.
He has this insane work ethic, but he's also curious about how Destiny can get so many things done.
I noticed that you do like a lot of canvassing, like you actually go out of your way. You've launched your own like podcast with like other people, the Bridges, and it's like...
Dude, Nikandros is really just hitting everything here. Every question that you could ask. This guy works this many hours. YouTube is also incredibly time consuming. You have this guy, again, must be incredibly persistent and have an insane amount of perseverance, right? Or he's lying. Somebody who has that type of like work ethic, that type of workflow where they're literally just working and grinding every single hour of the day, putting in effort to become consistent in every aspect of their lives, especially while they're like constantly fatigued, they wouldn't have to ask this question. They would just know. It would just click. They would not have to ask a question like that. Now, look, some of my long-term Muta fans would remember that Mutahar has talked about his health problems and his chronic fatigue and being unable to sleep for quite a long time. Some of you might even remember the time when he said that he would go to sleep in VR Minecraft because it genuinely made him sleep well after a long period of being unable to sleep properly.
I bought a VR kit just for this. Like, even if it's not for other games, and I know plenty of other VR games exist, Minecraft and the solace it brings is enough for me to consider VR to be a timely purchase, because sleeping for 7 days underneath VR helped cure me a lot of my sleep paralysis. You know, I've tried things like melatonin, all this kind of nonsense, and it works for a lot of people. I'm sorry to even call it nonsense, but it works for a lot of people. For me, it doesn't. And as somebody that suffers through sleep paralysis on a constant basis, and if you don't know what sleep paralysis is, I'll give you a quick example. It's when you're sleeping and you can't move. You're awake. You're in that weird stage in between. You can't move your arms and your legs, and you feel like there's things around you. For me, I always feel like my neck is going to get snapped. To not experience that for a fucking week, I would drop $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 into an even more expensive kit just so I could sleep like I normally did. Because not only did I sleep well, if you've noticed in my last couple of videos, the sun is up. That's because I'm not recording at 4 in the morning anymore when I wake up or things like that. I've slept at normal hours. I wake up at normal hours. I have more of my day back. And honestly, the most important thing about it is I feel better.
As I've said before, Mutahar must be like one of the most persistent individuals on YouTube to be uploading as frequently as he does and as consistently as he does, while also maintaining a full-time job throughout most of his YouTube lifespan, or so he claims. I mean, something fishy is definitely going on here. I don't want to make any claims, but I mean, if you're anything like me, or if you're just a typical human being, I know a lot of the times when you're tired, when you come home from work, the last thing you want to do is, you know, keep working. Because if you do YouTube, even as a hobby, there is a level of work that goes into creating YouTube videos. And I know, that sounds like really out of touch. Like, oh my god, streaming is the hardest job. But, I mean, let's be real here. it does take a little bit of effort. Hobbies can be difficult, they can be tiring, and sometimes after working for maybe 8 to 10 hours a day, the last thing you want to do when you get home is even play a video game sometimes, because that's just what happens when you're a busy adult. And I also have to say, the most disappointing part about this all is that Mutahar will probably never respond to any of this. He'll probably never take any of this on the chin, which is incredibly disappointing and disheartening given the fact that he built a pretty sizable chunk of his audience off of talking about drama and current events and giving his commentary when it comes to dramatic situations such as Mama Max. If you're going to give and dish out criticism for somebody being a fraud, then perhaps you should be capable of taking it as well.
Some Ordinary Gamers has just responded to commentary and questions regarding his claims of engineering credentials. Wait, what am I talking about? You don't see anything, do you? He hasn't posted a video, he hasn't made a tweet. Exactly. You don't see anything. Like any good professional engineer, Mutahar found a technical solution. His response was to blacklist the word engineer and perhaps others from his comment sections. This is very easily confirmed by account switching or logging out. Let's leave a perfectly innocuous comment on his most recent video and include the word engineer, logged in as my Nightmare Club channel. Now let me switch back to harmful opinions. Let's sort by new to look at it. It is not there no matter how many times I refresh the comment section. I also left some other comments including the word engineer on other accounts. Perhaps someone could engineer a more efficient method, I wrote. You'll notice it's a highlighted comment because I'm looking at it with a direct link. I can see it when I'm logged into the account that made the comment, but if I follow that link while not logged in or logged into another account, it doesn't work. To be thorough, I tested the exact comments I used on his channel on other channels, and this does not occur. It is absolutely not YouTube's basic filter. So Mutahar has responded, and his response was to censor you.
I mean, it's just incredibly disappointing, especially when you take into account that Mutahar was the guy to go after the completionist for not being transparent with his audience about what he was doing with the funds for charity for several years. It's really backwards, it's really pathetic, and honestly, even though I've been a long-time fan of Mutahar, I'm not gonna let that bias cloud very real criticism and very real concerns about Mutahar essentially putting himself up in a pedestal and then leveraging that for as much internet clout and as much internet fame as possible. It's really disappointing, it's really sad to see, and remember, not everybody that you will idolize on the internet is going to necessarily be this incredible individual that you, well, idolize him for. That's everything I got for today. Thanks for watching.